Good afternoon, Fort Thomas Independent Schools community. I'm Dr. Karen Chesser, Superintendent, and I'm here to give an update on our current situation with COVID. We've been sending out a lot of long emails, and so we thought this might be better to have a video that gives an update, answers some of your questions, and then also in the email, you'll see some additional resources to further explore the information that we're giving you here. First of all, I want to thank you for your support. We've appreciated the many emails and actually cards, real cards and phone calls supporting us. This is the hardest thing that many of us have ever done. And every single day, we are working like crazy to make sure we're doing the absolute best for our students and for our staff. And we appreciate your support. Today, we want to talk about just a few points. There have been some questions, and we want to give you the accurate information. So I'm first going to provide some information that answers some of the questions that you may have seen. Sometimes these questions appear on social media, and that's not really the venue to answer those. So I thought this way we could get all that information on the table. Also appreciate if you contact your principals or you contact me, anybody else in district office, and we can as well provide information. This actually this short graphic from a long email that I sent, and actually Mr. Faust at Woodfill Elementary put this together in some concise terms. I think will be easier to explain. First of all, who makes the decision about whether or not we stay in school or we move to NTI? And of course, our status right now is we are in school. We were able to do this because of the extremely creative and hard work from everyone in our schools and district office from about May and June. So again, we were able to do 6-foot distancing, we're able to do masking, cleaning, temperature checks, all of the different processes that are important to ensure no exposure at school. Not every district has been able to do that, and I definitely credit this community and our staff for making the almost impossible possible. And so we're staying in school until there is a reason for us to close. Now I can tell you that this takes a village to determine whether or not we need to close. And when I say village, we are working with not just principals and district administrators, but also many medical professionals in the area, or local officials. We talk with St. Elizabeth, we talk with Cincinnati Children's Hospital, our health department officials. And then also as a region, the Northern Kentucky superintendents are all sharing information as well as throughout the state. And that's how we are making these decisions. We are very much committed to empirical evidence in making the decision rather than, maybe some stories we find online or some other indicators. We really have to see the evidence because this is not something anyone, including our health departments, have ever had to do before. So it's really important that we look at that information. In fact, we just met, all the Northern Kentucky superintendents just met with the Northern Kentucky Health Department last week, and they commended us for following all of those measures, especially in, for example, Fort Thomas, because we are able to do 6-foot distancing. And so the bottom line is we haven't gone to NTI because there has been no evidence of the virus being spread at school. We're not seeing that evidence locally, not seeing it statewide, nationally, or even internationally. I've included in the email a video recording of the last superintendent's webcast. Now, I would never ask you to watch that entire thing. Those things are 2 or 3 hours every single Tuesday. But in the very last few minutes, and I'll put that in the email, you'll hear our Commissioner of Education, Commissioner Glass, and also Associate Commissioner of Public Health, Dr. White, confirmed that there is no evidence of spread in the state. We are, also looking at other states and internationally. I've included a link to an article also in the email with regards to Europe. There are many countries in Europe that have locked down except for their schools are open. What they found, and of course they were a little ahead of us on collecting evidence and research, is that schools are not a source of major transmission of the virus, and that the impact of not being in school is too great. We also have, in that article, you'll see that the director of the OECD, which is the PISA test, if you ever hear about the PISA test that compares us to other countries, that schools are much safer than students, not being in schools. And we also know that 5 to 6 months ago, we didn't really know this information, and we really didn't know how to handle it. And that's why some of the metrics are a little outdated. And I explained that in the last video of why just being in a red county is not correlated to trouble in schools. We know more information now. So as we say, as we know better, we must do better. In addition, Cincinnati Children's Hospital is also sending this message. In the email, there's a link to their latest forum for education leaders. And in that, they also recommend that schools remain open. That's as long as they adhere to the guidelines. They actually say the only reason that schools should close is for an in-school transmission. So if you're seeing that in schools, which we are not, if you have too many quarantines, and we'll address that, which we are not, and also just being able to measure all those different measures in your protective bundle, as they say. So that protective bundle is, thermal scanning or temperature checks in the morning, excluding students who have symptoms. It's contact tracing if students are positive. It is quarantining. It is 6-foot social distancing. It is masking. It is cleaning. All of those things that together we're doing, which reduces any chance of exposure, and also would ensure that no one is a close contact if they follow those according to our health department guidelines. We're also concerned about students who are not in school and the mental health concerns. You might have read an article just yesterday from the Mason City Schools, a school district that's not so unlike Fort Thomas. And unfortunately, they've had, heartbreakingly, 13 students going to, having to get outpatient or inpatient help for suicidal ideation just in the last 3 weeks. And that's very concerning for us. We want to do everything we can to provide an experience in schools that allows students to continue to get that social emotional support, to work with their peers, and to get the instruction from our, very, very professional and capable, fantastic staff. We have increased our subpool. So currently, any of the districts in Northern Kentucky who have had to close have done so because of quarantine staff, and they don't have enough staff to run school. So that may be staff such as bus drivers, or it could be teachers. And so, thankfully, due to the proactive nature of our staff, we were able to increase our subpool. So not only have we added 20 some additional subs, we also have college students who are coming to work with us after the break. And that has really, really helped. And we encourage as well, if there are any others of you who are interested, we would be very thankful for that. Our quarantines currently, we've only had 2 situations where quarantines have been connected to the school. So you've seen that on the dashboard. One had to do with a bus situation. And so we had to quarantine, 22 students because of a 6-foot distance, because the bus ride was also greater than 15 minutes. And in addition, we had an after school activity. And so during the day and with the measures, we've had 0 exposures that have led to quarantines. You will see right now we have about 3% of students quarantining. That will decrease to less than 2% on Monday, and also a handful of staff, and that will also dwindle to just a couple on Monday. So we want to especially thank our teachers and staff who are working really, really hard not to be in any kind of situations where they have to quarantine. And in addition, our families, trying to keep students, family members, socially distanced. And, we know this is extremely hard at this time. So those answer some of the questions that we've been asked with regards to who makes this decision, why have we not gone to NTI, when will we go to NTI? If we have to go to NTI, it will be if we experience any sort of transmission in schools or if our quarantines are too much, just like we are learning from Cincinnati Children's Hospital. You know, at this point, what we've said is if we closed now, when we have a handful of staff quarantine, less than 2% of students quarantine, no evidence of spread in school, when would we reopen? Unfortunately, we don't see the cases in our community miraculously decreasing anytime very, very soon. But I want to urge you, please, can you help with that? Could you help us with trying to reduce those cases so that we aren't even talking about having to possibly close school? We need you to encourage your students to distance, you know, keep it 6 feet apart when they're with others. Don't go to birthday parties and those kinds of gatherings. Let's just keep that for in a couple of months. Let's just hold on just a little bit longer. We know it's going to be really difficult with holidays coming up, but could you keep it to your immediate family as a gathering, or try to do things where you're definitely distancing and masking? We know that that's a lot to ask. And we are urging our community and our city to help us be able to do this so we can keep in school. So that's the first ask. And the second ask is please lift up our staff and our teachers. They are making heroic efforts to keep school going as close to normal as possible. It's really difficult when you wear a mask all day. It's difficult to constantly be thinking about, you know, the time, not more than 15 minutes, ensuring that students are all following the rules. And these students have been amazing. They are following the rules. We only have a little, you know, sometimes we have to remind them, but it's been phenomenal, all ages. And so if you can share your gratitude with our teachers and our staff, that would be most appreciative. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. You can get me at Karen.Chesser@fortthomas.kyschools.us, or you can call here at 781-3333. In addition, you could talk to your principals or your other teachers or staff or anyone here at district office. Thank you, and we appreciate you and all that our community is doing.